And now we are live. Brad, we're live and alive, both.
Exactly.
Which one are you excited the most, being live or alive?
I'm always excited to be alive. I do believe that waking up in the morning is the best gift that we can give ourselves every day. Also learned something that before we also learned something about myself very interestingly last week. So last week I took some time off. I was in Miami with my family, which was wonderful. And I'm a big practicer and practitioner of meditation, of waking up the right way, getting into routine and practices and so on. It occurred to me for the very first time that the very first thing that I say to myself in the morning completely dictates the way that my day is going to turn out.
Mm.
And I put it to a test. So I would wake up and say, okay, I'm not feeling great today. And then guess what? The whole day I didn't feel great. I'll wake up and say, today all I've got to do is go down to the beach, enjoy it with my family, put a smile on my face, and I have a smile on my face for the rest of the day. Now, it sounds like something really simple and something that we probably should have got a long time ago. But the very first things that we tell it, the very first thing we put into our mental brain, into our head, as soon as we wake up, for me at least, when I always speak from a position of gestalt and experience sharing from me, it dictates the entire day. So wake up with a positive thought in your head, not a negative. Even if there are stuff, we always have stuff going around, right, McKenna? There's always crap. There's always stuff for us to deal with. There's always problems. There's always these things that are going to be, that's life. But if you just wake up and the first thing you say to yourself is something good, guess what? You can have a good day. So yeah, I woke up this morning, even though you can hear I'm normally got a sexy voice, but not this deep and not this sexy. So I do have flu and I am unwell. But I woke up this morning and I said, I'm going to be good because I get to speak to McKenna for an hour. So how much better can things get?
Well, I love how we go straight into the live conversations, and this is why I was like, are we live and we're alive? And so happy to have you here. I usually don't introduce the professional aspect for my friends. I want you to share from your heart, and I want people to hear the passion, because I know there's a lot of passion when Brad is in that space, either virtual or physical, and this time it's definitely virtual. But a quick intro for Brad. Brad and I connected on Clubhouse, a social app, many years ago, and we met in real life August 20th, 2021. Yes,
Yeah.
I remember the date. So it's been 2 years that we met in real life. And we've been very good friends ever since. We stay in touch. He's doing amazing things in the world because he is an innovator and he is a lover for all things life and helping anyone and everyone that's in his presence, as long as they want to help themselves, because he's also very, very respectful and acts with integrity. When you show up for yourself, Brad will show up for you. There's no doubt about that. And this is how I feel when, if someone were to ask me, if you were to describe Brad in one sentence, what would you say? What comes to mind is integrity, trust, ethics, be transparent, and even if you mess up, let him know and he'll love you even more. So these are the things that I've picked up from Brad, but I'm going to have him introduce himself and tell us anything and everything. Brad, take it from here.
Well, what a wonderful introduction. And thank you for saying those wonderful things, because you are 100% correct. At my core is my integrity, is my reputation, and is my point of showing up for those that are prepared to show up for themselves. So you're 100% correct. I know we've known each other for a while, but still, it's important because we actually have a lot of time. Everyone says time is that commodity, and I will talk about myself, but I'll say this first: time is that commodity that we should really respect the most. And I agree with that. We should respect, and not my time. We should be respecting everybody else's time. And that's right. There's the one commodity that you can't replenish. You can't get more back. But what we do have is that we have a lot of time. Because I am 48 years old, I'm only halfway through my life. If I can take everything that I have learned in the last 48 years and apply that wisdom and knowledge to the next, please God, 48 years. I mean, how powerful and big are we going to be? How much of an impact can I have on not only myself, my family, my organizations, the people I do business with, but the greater community? There's plenty of time, people. Like, don't feel pressured with time. There's plenty of time. It's to the point of respecting other people's time. So my name is Brad Menachemson. I am the current president of an organization and movement called ZADASI, which is ZADASI. You can check us out at zadasi.com. We'll talk about ZADASI quickly. We are a movement that empowers women entrepreneurs and women in business to get to that next inflection point for whatever that looks like for them. And we do that through education, funding, and access to an elite network that typically people don't have when they first either get into business and or have been in business for a little while. I've done multiple things, but I've been in business for 20 to 25 years now. So my network and the people around me networks is what I'm bringing into ZADASI to say that I can give you access and access at speed to cut the learning curve that is there, as well as give you the ability to be able to get these warm introductions, which in today's world, which as fast as it moves, warm introductions are everything. And the covenant over it is that we only do it for women entrepreneurs. Why? And why is there a man leading an organization for women entrepreneurs? Well, two reasons. One, it's only for women because it's not equitable in terms of anything in relation to business for women. And that is just a statement. I don't need to go into how bad it actually is. Most people are aware, but it's not equitable, and I have an issue with that. Secondly, I've got a very strong entrepreneur wife. I've got two daughters. I'm an entrepreneur, so reason only stands that they'll want to become entrepreneurs. I've got a son as well. And for me, I have a problem where if my son and my daughters go and they try and raise capital for exactly the same business, doing exactly the same thing with the same experience, my son has a 98% chance of securing the capital against my daughters have a 2% chance of securing the capital. And the only reason is because they're female. And I've got a problem with that. So when I have a problem with something, I try and do something about it. So I started an organization which has turned into a movement with 3 other co-founders, all from Clubhouse as well. And we've been going for almost 2 years, and we've impacted over 100 lives, and we're raising our fund right now, which is going to close at around $1 million. And we have access to a huge network of people because it's a multiplier effect. I take my network plus all the people attached to our organization, and there are preferred partners, supply partners, plus we got master moderators who've been trained through our program. You take all of their networks, we're talking hundreds of thousands of people we can connect you to. And I had that when I first started out and started my first business. Wow. And I could take all the learnings from all of these wonderful, smart people and not make the same mistake, but learnings by listening to them. So it's not listening to the advice, it's listening to their story and taking out of their story what I need to make sure that I make the right decision for me. Wow. I could have saved myself a lot of money, a lot of time, but I want to give that out. So that's the one organization, that's the primary organization that I do. I'm an investor as well. I'm an angel investor. I have investment portfolio both in Australia, where I'm from, as well as in the US now, which I'm building out. My wife has a very successful commercial furniture business, which I act as the CFO in that as well. That was the reason why we came to the US. And then I do a bit of mentoring work and so on the side. So I keep myself busy. I also have raised 3 children. My wife has been incredibly busy, and she's been really focused, probably over the last decade, on growing her business out. So I took the primary role as, which I wanted to raise my 3 children, which has been a gift that I've been given. And now I'm on a solid mission. And that mission is to build the global impact that we have started with ZADASI and empower as many women entrepreneurs and women in business to get to wherever they want to go. And we give them the tools, the resources, as well as the access to be able to do that.
I am so in love with the mission, and when I think about it, there are a lot of organizations out there who have similar missions, empowering women, supporting women. But nowadays, what I hear a lot of times, Brad, is people having this expression called, do you have receipts?
Hmm.
And I started our conversation by emphasizing on the fact that you are a man of integrity, you love your family, and the way I vet my friendships is on how in love they are with their families first and foremost. I live with my family, meaning my parents and my brother. They always come first.
Yeah.
And this is why I also know that what comes first for you. So when I hear that you're now in this solid mission of empowering women, I also know that you have receipts. I know the organization, which I want to call it, as you said, a movement, a global movement, because
Yeah.
as a global focus connector, I am also like you. Why stop at the local level? Let's go global. Let's create that big ripple effect. Now, you started about a year ago, if I'm not mistaken.
So ZADASI was formed just over a year ago, but we started training people through our curriculum just about a year ago because it took, like, it was a startup, and like most startups, and I will talk a little bit about this when you give me the chance, because there are some learnings that I'd love to pass through my experience to the audience, and about why I chose the route that I chose to set up ZADASI in the first place,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of thought behind it. And there is, when you take a look at the statistic, well, let me first say this. The reason you and I are aligned, McKenna, is that I know that you put your family first. And I know that that is foremost, and that is for me the same. So for me, I only want people in my circle that are aligned to me as a person. I don't need more friends. I don't have a lot of friends. I have a lot of different tribes of people that are there for me where I need them to be. But I just want people that are genuine, and I want people that are aligned and have similar values like yourself. So if you let me, I'll talk a little bit about why I went down that certain path with ZADASI. And you're right. If you, in my opinion, is similarly to you, is that the world became a lot smaller during COVID. And that's where a lot of us got super hyper connected, and we're still hyper connected. As much as we have lost a little bit of it in terms of the compassion side of it, we're still hyper connected. So if you're going to do something, you might as well do it globally, because all of a sudden the world became smaller. So you have this global reach, which wasn't there before. And particularly if you're going to do an impact, which is what ZADASI is, it's an impact movement. I don't want to just impact people from me. Like, that's too slow. For me to go and train people one-on-one at a time, or four-on-one at a time, which is what we do, it's too slow. I'm not going to get to where I want to get. And I want to get to impact the community. We're in 5 countries at the moment after 1 year. And I want that to get to at least 100 countries within the next, say, 5 to 10 years.
And that was my receipt number one. That's what I was trying to get at in such a short period of time. That's for everyone who's listening. That's the point I was trying to get at. Show us some receipts. And I mean, I don't know if you guys heard this, but let that sink for a second. In less than a year, their footprint, heart print, mind print, soul print has touched 5 countries.
Yes.
And the mission is clearly to go global, but you mentioned something 100 what?
So we've impacted over 100 lives already through our program. And when I say impacted, significantly impacted 100 lives already. But I want to put this in front of the fact that we are in 5 countries in that short period of time. There was a ton of research that was done into the marketplace before we went live with our very first person. So I said, the company's been around for 2 years. We did almost a year of market research to make sure that we had the right market fit for the product that we were bringing. Now, that's imperative, right? Because I would suggest 2 things: that out of every startup that fails, and the statistics are terrible, something like 90% of startups fail, 70% will fail within the first year as well. By year 5, 90% have failed. The majority of them fail for 2 reasons. One, they don't understand the market that they've entered into properly, because they haven't done their due diligence and found their market fit properly, or they don't have the capital to be able to expand. You need both. You need to understand the marketplace you're going into intimately. You've got to make sure that your product or service has the right market fit for where you're putting it into. And then once you start growing, and if you do have aspirations for it to be more than just the one person, so nothing wrong with a sole entrepreneur, massive respect for them. But if you want it to be bigger than that, it's going to take capital. So if you don't have the capital yourself, you're going to have to raise that capital, and that has to be part of your plan. Sorry. So there are two pathways that you can take when you're starting up a business, and that's some of this talk I wanted to gear towards it. The one is that you can try and pioneer a space. So you're going to be the first, you're going to get that first market advantage. You're going to come up with something completely creative and new that the market has never seen, and then you're going to try and build out a marketplace. I've done that before, many times. The other thing is like going into an existing marketplace and finding a niche in that marketplace for you or for your product. So those are the two ways to go. And I'll talk about the positives and negatives of both and why with ZADASI we chose the one way. And I'm going to give you 3 case histories about what the research I did to ensure that I'm trying to get my market fit right for that product, for ZADASI. If you want to take that first mover advantage and you want to start building out a marketplace because you have a completely unique offering or product that doesn't exist, wonderful. That's very advantageous. And yes, having that first mover advantage is going to be advantageous to you. But you also have to understand one thing about it. To do it, you're going to have a lot of money behind you because you now have to educate an entire market on something completely new. You've got nothing to refer to. You know, when I've listened to so many pitches, again, as an investor, and the amount of times I've heard, well, we're the next Uber or we're the next Airbnb and so on and so forth. The reason they use it is because they've gone into a marketplace where it exists and they've got a catalyst, or they've got a big behemoth that have done it so people can align with that. If there's no big behemoth that's done before you and you can't refer yourself to anyone, then it's just about you. So you better believe that it's going to take a lot longer than what you think it's going to take, and it's going to take a lot more money to educate the marketplace. But if you can do it like an Airbnb, like an Uber, where that marketplace didn't exist, look at the money they had to raise, but they are the leaders in it, and that's why people refer to it. The other flip of the side of the coin is to say, okay, what about going into a saturated marketplace? So what happens if we know that there are consumers for this, but I want to find a niche within that marketplace? And I'll give you an example, and I love this one, is that, and I'll ask you, Megana, so in the energy drink market, right, who are the 2 main players you think in the energy drink market?
Repeat that one more time.
Who are the 2 major players in the energy drink market? So there's drinks you buy out of the gas stations that give you energy. Which one would you grab?
Okay, I only drink water.
Good.
So I am
good. That's the answer I wanted. So
and I eat ice cream. So good. Ask me about ice cream brands.
Yeah.
Häagen-Dazs.
Love Häagen-Dazs. I was in a dessert business for a while. So the 2 major players in the energy market, the energy market is absolutely humongous. The 2 major players, I'm sure you've heard of, one is called Red Bull. I'm sure you've heard of Red Bull. Okay. So they're a canned energy drink, right? They're a massive player in that market. They have huge budgets behind them, huge behemoth of a company. Mm. The other one is Monster, and Monster is owned by Coca-Cola. Mm. So they have the lion's share of the market, right? And these are massive companies that spend a massive amount of marketing on them. A new player came into the market, and this is what they did. And let's take their story because I'm sure people can get some value out of this. He wanted to enter, the gentleman was an Indian gentleman. He wanted to enter into the energy market, knowing that he had nowhere near the budget, resources, or capital of a Red Bull. So what did he do? He went into grocery stores and he went and looked at the bins where people drinking these drinks, what they threw out. When they threw the can out, right, he went and picked up the can and he took a look at the can. And what he realized was that people were only typically drinking half of those energy drinks. So they'll have 1 big or 2 big sips, which gave them a boost of energy because they packed with the most terrible stuff, but they give you an immediate lift for that caffeine lift, right? And then they become a little bit nauseating, so you don't want to finish the rest of it. So he saw that out of Monster and Red Bull both, and people weren't finishing the drink, but they're buying these big cans. So what did he do? He thought, well, instead of launching another canned drink, because he's not going to be able to compete, he introduced something called the 5-hour shot. So the bottle was this big, which meant that you can have it in one go. So, okay, he's going into a saturated marketplace, which is heavily saturated without anywhere near the budget of anyone else. But his differentiator in that marketplace was that you can have it's called 5-hour. You can check out the story. It's called 5-hour on the bottle. So he says it's going to work for 5 hours. You have one shot. So you throw the thing back and bang, you're done. You don't have to drink this entire big Red Bull to get the same effect, right? Brilliant, right? But he got there by going and watching the consumer and see what they were doing with the product. His market research was going through rubbish bins. That's what he did. These are the extents that you have to go to, particularly when you enter in the saturated marketplace. The other thing that he realized when it became a consumer-facing product was that if you look at any convenience store, grocery store, supermarket, the fastest moving products are those that sit at the counter, right? The cash register. That's where all of the gum usually sits and the treats and the lollies and the rest of it. By packaging a small bottle, that bottle now sits at the cash register. So it becomes an impulse purchase where if I want a Red Bull, I have to walk to the back of the supermarket or the back of the gas station to get my Red Bull, right? So I'm standing at the counter. I realize I want an energy boost. I don't want to walk all the way back. I see one in front of me on the counter. That's why they impulse buy. So I buy them. That company today, in 2012, was doing $1 billion after a few years. Today, he's worth $5 billion. And he entered into one of the most saturated marketplaces there are. So when I looked at ZADASI, it was, okay, do I want to be an innovator, which I tend to do? I've got a million different ideas. I can launch a million different things. But I know the amount of money and effort and time behind it. Or do I want to go into a marketplace like mentoring, coaching, which ZADASI is in, funding? There's nothing unique about putting together a mentoring program. There's nothing unique about putting together a fund to raise capital. And there's nothing unique about giving access to a network. The way that I did it was that when I packaged these things up, I realized that there isn't anyone in the marketplace. So I'm going into an existing marketplace where people understand what it is to be coached, people understand what it is to be funded, and people understand what it is to have a network. But when I packaged it up, it was, okay, what can be the differentiator for us? And our differentiator is that we're a peer support training platform, which means that we are not one-on-one coaching. We are peer support. And the only way you get to be a peer support coaching program is when you have the participants, and we run forums. In a forum, there's 4 people and a master moderator that takes them through the curriculum. The curriculum's fixed. But we get all the learnings of those 4 people back into the curriculum. So you're learning of each other, which is peer support training. There is no better tool to educate anyone than the life experience of someone else. Because we match people up so that they have not similar life experiences, but they're at similar paths within their journey. So that when you come into one of our forums, you're with people at similar path. And that means that you're going to be able to learn of their experience. And we've had people that are 80 years of age and people that are 20 years of age sitting in the same forum, both giving value, because my story is mine. Your story is yours. No one else has your story. No one else has my story. No one else has your learnings. No one else has my learnings. So if I can share from a place of confidentiality and vulnerability, and I can tell you my story, you're going to be able to pull something out of it that's going to be useful for you. And when you do that within the curriculum, and then you get the ability to be able to have funding, and we go first in, meaning that as soon as you are looking to raise money, we teach you how to raise money, and then we teach you what to do with that money. So you get a return on that investment for yourself immediately. And we give you access to those warm introductions. That's unique. It's an existing marketplace, so we put a unique offering.
I love it. And I love that you believe so much in the mission, because it could be 1,000 organizations out there, but I feel that the difference with ZADASI is how practical you are, because it's like, what are those expressions? Done for you, done with you. And what I'm hearing is you are becoming an extension of this startup, of this person, of this new company. You're not sending them a link to study and then go for it, figure it out. You in a way are becoming this angel investor, not only from a monetary perspective, but you are becoming their partners in life. And I am still fascinated, not shocked, of course, but fascinated at the 100 lives that you have impacted in such a short period of time. And Brad, tell us how large is the ZADASI organization as we speak, and what percentage of the staff are women?
Good questions. So at the moment, we've trained in over 20 moderators who know how to run the program. We have active, there are 4 co-founders, and then we have 6 master moderators. So there are 10 people that can train the curriculum, which is imperative, because the curriculum, as much as it's a coaching, peer-to-peer coaching support curriculum, it is unique in its structure. It's done very quickly. We do it in 4 weeks. So if you take your incubators, which people understand how they work, or your accelerator programs, how they work, that's typically information that gets downloaded to you or dumped on you. Then maybe they'll put some money into you, and then maybe they'll give you 1 or 2 connections. That's how accelerators typically work. And it's a numbers factory. They just want to get the numbers through. For us, we do the complete opposite. We want to spend time with you that intimately get to understand and know you. The only way that you get to intimately and understand someone is when they can become vulnerable. So we're very selective in terms of the people that we're allowed to come not into our programs, or we select the people that can come into the programs, but the people that can teach the program. Because of the fact we take a huge responsibility on when we start teaching and educating. We break the person down to their core, which has to happen, because there are 4 areas in life that are going to impact you that have been identified. They're not identified by us. These have been identified by study. Oh, and I can tell you something very exciting, that we're part of a university study as well. Don't let me forget to say that. But these 4 areas have been identified in many organizations, and they're the 4 areas that impact you. Those are yourself, your community, your family, and your business. Those are the 4 areas, or the 4 main pillars that control you as an individual. If you have issues or blocks in any one of those areas, you're not going to operate as efficiently and effectively as you can. So what we do is that we look to clear out any of these blocks out of any of those areas by giving them each area as much attention as it needs. Because about being a good entrepreneur, being good in business is not just about business. If you have something going on in your personal life, your family life, it's going to impede your business life. If you have something going on in your community, it's going to impede your business life. If you're not whole, if you're not good, it's going to impede your business. So we make sure holistically that you're right. Now, that breaks someone down. So that's a big responsibility. And then we build you back up. And we build you back up very quickly so that you can, whatever that next goal is for you, you can reach. So we've got 10 people who can run our curriculum at the moment. We signed for someone in the UAE, out of Dubai, who's going to actually transcribe it into Arabic. And then we're opening up another 8 countries out of Dubai, which are going to be opened up within the next probably 3 to 4 months. And the curriculum is going to be trained in Arabic, which is important because that's a huge Africa, Asia, and Dubai, huge growing, particularly for women entrepreneurs, massive growing market. So we want to be able to tap into those markets, and we've now got the resources to do that. Then we have an outstanding board of advisors. So sitting on our board of advisors is a gentleman by the name of Shafat, who I know you know. And Shafat does multiple things. He has his own VC as well as his own branding and marketing agency, investment. He's in real estate. But he is just, we call each other brothers because we are. He's an extension of me and I'm an extension of him, and we love each other, and we do. But here's someone who's attached to our mission and vision and cause and is expediting our growth significantly. Alongside with him is a woman by the name of Amna, who you know as well. And Amna is their COO of their branding, plus she's involved with Shafat as a partner in his VC fund. And she is just a powerhouse woman. She is someone, if you don't know, you want to get to know because she's just incredible. The other person on our board, her name is Kerry Santos. Kerry Santos is the ex-CEO of EO, which is the entrepreneur organization. EO operates in 60 countries. They have 17,000 members. She ran that organization, which do peer-to-peer support training for 5.5 years. She's a powerhouse, and she's an academic. She's got a PhD. She's a doctorate. She's on our advisory board because she loves the mission and vision of what we're doing. And similarly to organizations like EO or YPO, who do this type of forum, but they have higher qualifying criteria. So if you want to join EO, you have to have a business that turns over $1 million. What about the people that have businesses that don't turn over $1 million? Why shouldn't they have access? Like everyone at EO has access. YPO, it's $15 million. Why shouldn't we have access? So we give access to everyone. So she loved that. So she's on our advisory board. And the last person on our advisory board is my wife, Daniela, who, as I said, is a very successful entrepreneur in her own right. So that rounds that out. And then we have our global brand ambassador is out of Australia. Her name is Paris Cutler. And she's just a powerhouse. And she's a woman who, again, 6 years ago, I met her at an event. And I was talking, she goes, what are you doing? I told her she was the MC of the event, 300, 400 people. Anyway, she sat down with me for literally about 3 minutes. And she said, what do you do? And I told her, and I said, at that stage, I was investing a lot more. And I was investing, I was about principally invest in females because I enjoy working with female entrepreneurs and I feel they give me a better return. And there's so much statistics about how women entrepreneurs actually do better than men, sorry to say. And she turned around and she goes, well, and I said, I want to build out some type of movement or curriculum or plan. And she turned around and she said to me, well, why don't you bloody do it already? Stop talking about it. She'll know me for 3 minutes. Just stop talking about it. Just do it. Right?
I like her.
I really like her. So 5 years later, she's always been in the back of my head. I thought, you know what? I'm actually going to send her a message. Her name is Paris. I say, Paris, you know what? Okay, it took me 5 years or 6 years, but guess what? I've done it. Right? I wanted like big pat on my back for doing it.
I love it.
She then turned around and said, Brad, tell me about it. So I told her about it, showed her the website. And then it occurred to me, I said, Paris, well, what about if you come on board now? Because you threw down the gauntlet to tell me I had to do this, right? Which I did. Now, how about you come in and support us? Because she is an influencer and she's an incredible influencer out of Australia. So she said, okay. And she joined us as our global brand ambassador. So we got her attached to the organization as well. So there are a lot of people in a lot of different countries. And as I say, we're just now expanding with preferred partners out of the UAE. We've got referral partners as well coming out of Canada and Australia. We're training up. So there are quite a few people, and you have to have that. To be able to build a global organization, you have to have the right people and you have to have global people. Otherwise, it can't just all happen from one person. It can't happen from just one place. It has to be truly global.
Well, all I hear is women from all walks of life, men from all walks of life who support women, and women who support men, because I don't want people to think of ZADASI that it's a movement created by women, for women, only for women, exclusively for women. Absolutely not. And that makes me very happy because I support women in different collaborations, but I constantly make sure everyone knows that we love having the support of the right men in our communities, because no one should do it alone, because there's different strengths that we all bring to the table. And I love that. And I want to tell you, Brad, the power of being a global connector and what you're doing. Miss Universe Canada is approaching. And guess who's running the red carpet?
Please tell me it's you.
So I'm thinking ZADASI. You're speaking about ZADASI in a global level, and you speak in Canada. I am connected to a phenomenal woman who's organizing Miss Universe Canada. And we are on this Zoom with all these other men and women for the book collaborations. And she's pointing at me and she's like, Migena, I want you to co-host the event the next day for ABC, but then the night before we're having the VIP, and I want you alongside with another phenomenal woman to go wild with the red carpet. And then I sat for a second, and all I'm thinking is, what an honor. I'm not thinking beauty pageant, women, men, glamour, TV. I'm thinking, what an honor for someone to trust me with a microphone at such an important event. And it pretty much increased the level of responsibility to the moon.
Oh yeah.
But what I'm thinking since that moment when the conversation took place to present time and into the future is, how do I maximize while I am at the event, so then I come back home with gifts, a gift of a connection, a gift of the exposure for ZADASI that I strongly believe in, a gift to my own community that gets to say, oh, we thought Migena could do that, and there she is. A gift to all the women who still have not given themselves permission to believe that they can actually do anything and everything they put their heart minds into, and all you have to do is ask. And when you were sharing the story with Paris, I pick up, well, guess what? I built it, and yet it's not her responsibility to come to me now that I did it. It's not her responsibility to check on me to make sure and keep me accountable. It's 100% Brad's responsibility, because he has a global community he must serve, because he's a man of his word. He has hundreds and thousands of people who are looking at him, counting on him, even when he is not seeing those eyes. So what Brad does, he asks, but he doesn't even ask in a way that it's begging and it's desperate. It's in a way that empowers her, because now she has the huge responsibility of being this global ambassador. And I don't want anyone out there to think that, oh, but well, because she did ABC and it's deserving of D and E and F and G. No, you can be a global ambassador even in your own community. You can be your own global ambassador. How about you start by being your own global ambassador for whoever you are in the world?
Yeah.
And I guarantee you others will support you. So as we're speaking, I would love to connect with you offline and see how we can have ZADASI have the spotlight at the event at Miss Universe Canada, which is happening August 17th through the 19th. And as you can see, there's 60 women who are competing not just for the beauty aspect of it, but what they bring in the world as humanitarian and the causes that they are going to be a part of. And why not? Let's have them all join ZADASI movement. And it takes one event at a time, one voice at a time. So I'm super excited that you are expanding, and grateful that I also have the opportunity to contribute when possible. And yeah, that gets me so excited.
But you see what just happened, and I'm going to actually, I haven't answered your first question. Then I'm going to talk about just what happened so people understand exactly what just happened right now. You asked me what percentage of women in the organization versus men. So let me answer that. There are 2 male co-founders and 2 female co-founders. Why? Purposely done. Because you said it. A man operates different to a woman. It is what it is. Women bring a certain skill set that men don't. Typically, it's more around intuition than men have, but men bring another skill set, right? So when I set it up, everything I do is purposeful. So I said, okay, I want on the founding team, I want 2 men and 2 women, because I know when you combine the 4 of us, we become unstoppable. Then with training, I want men that are going to be able to train their curriculum, but it is slanted more towards women. So we've got 4 women master trainers against 2 women master trainers. The board is a little bit more slanted towards women as well, but I wasn't that affected by male or female on the board. I wanted a male influence, absolutely, because as I say, they bring something. But then if it happens to be more women, that's what it is. It was more so that the founding team was 2 men, 2 women, because everyone brings their own. So that's kind of how the structure works out. We'll probably end up 70% women, 30% men. Now, why do you have to have men in these organizations? It's because it's not fair. Men can open the door, right? Yes. It's what history is. Let's not be ashamed to call it out. Men have an advantage in business that women don't. And it's historical. It's been for generations. The man must open the door at the moment for the woman to walk through, right? Just what it is. So we bring men to the table so that door gets open, because once that door's opened, watch out, right? When it becomes an equal playing field, watch out. Then you've got to stand on your own and you've got to fight for what's going to be yours. And then gender shouldn't come into it. But if at the moment it means that the door has to be open, when the door should bloody well be open. So that's why we do it. And then to say exactly what just happened here, one of the powers, I said, we've got three things, and the one is access to an elite network. So for ZADASI to be able to access someone like you, right? If that wasn't available, you would never put the opportunity of us now being to do something with Miss World in Canada. That just would never have happened. That's community. And the reason you've offered it to me is because of the fact that you trust me. You know that if you refer me onto anyone, I'm going to hold you in good regard. Because at the end of the day, all we have is our reputation. I spent 25 years building my reputation. You better believe that when I refer someone or I take someone into my business, they've been vetted and they've been checked, because as soon as I put my name to anything, it's me. And
it becomes our business.
Yeah, my name to anything unless I know that it's been vetted. So you vetted me. You know what type of person I am, and therefore you will offer me an opportunity like you just offered, right? People, that is so incredibly important that you hold yourself and know that if someone is prepared to give a warm introduction or a warm lead and is prepared to put their name against yours, it means they trust you. You better respect that, and you hold that trust, and you do nothing besides holding that trust.
And at the same time, Brad, what I feel, and I was in a Clubhouse space prior to our call, and was asked to moderate for an hour, and absolutely not. I said, I have a responsibility for Brad and myself to be in this beautiful conversation. And you and I are very, very similar. And when we show up in the world and we are going out there creating these relationships, because it takes a lot to create this relationship. People call it planting seeds or picking fruit, whatever it is. One thing that is very important to mention is that the moment I'm knocking on someone's door, and we'll start with you, the moment I'm knocking on Brad's door and I am asking for support, I also know that I am now 10 times, 100 times responsible to return that favor, but even better, to pay it forward. So every time we are asking for something on behalf of our families, our organizations, it's not a free gift because someone is generous. Is Brad did this for me, I'm going to convert that into 10 opportunities for him, and so on and so forth. And we are all being tested. We are all being interviewed in life, on everyday meeting, in everyday conversations. And when someone is doing something for you, no one will ever ask you, hey, what's in it for me? The kind ones and the ones that truly honor and call this thing called a relationship building sacred, they will allow you to be who you truly are in order for them to understand and realize who you will be to them and their organizations. And every person will give you that one chance. So take that one chance, honor it, grab it, shield it, and do the best thing you can do with it, because magic happens, or the opposite, it dies completely. So we give it life and we end its life. And I feel with the way you show up in the world, you show up in the world as a giver, and clearly you've created this amazing movement. And I know how much goes behind closed door, but when you think of ZADASI, where do you see ZADASI in the next 10 years? Like, what's that long-term vision?
All of what you've just said, I couldn't agree more with. It's been really well said, and you're 100% correct. Where I see ZADASI in the next 10 years, I am building with my co-founders a legacy brand. So you've got two options in business. You either build a business you're going to exit, right? And then when you build a business that you want to build a legacy brand and you want to pass that on down through the generations. I want my family to always own a piece of ZADASI. I want my daughters to own a piece of ZADASI, and please God, their children and their children. So we're building a legacy brand. In 10 years' time, we are a for-profit business. So in 10 years' time, I want to see, and let me rephrase, because what's put out there is what comes back. What will happen for ZADASI in 10 years' time is that we'll be invested in thousands of businesses. literally thousands and thousands of women-owned and women-led businesses. We will be touching, as I say, at least in 100 countries. And I don't ever quantify the number by putting a lid on it. Some people say, I want to impact 1 million people, and then I know that I've reached my purpose. I don't do that. Because what happens if you impact 999,999? Have you failed because you didn't do 1 million? What happens if you do 1 million plus one? Are we stopping at 1 million? So for me, it's endless. As long as there's a need, as long as it's not equitable, then we will continue to push the mission and vision of supporting women entrepreneurs and women in business. And in the next 10 years, what I would love to see, again, to be honest with you, I would love to see the ZADASI curriculum offered to men. And I'll tell you why. As soon as we are able to offer this curriculum to men, it means that women have an equal playing field in business globally. And then it becomes offered to men. Up until the point where women have an equal opportunity as men do in the global environment, in all aspects of business, we will be exclusively women. So in 10 years' time, I sincerely hope that we put in men through the ZADASI program, knowing that it's not only our organization, it's other organizations that are similar and aligned to what we do that are actually going to properly, people talk about paradigm shifts. Mm-hmm. I say, let's move the needle, because a paradigm is actually something huge. So the paradigm shift is equality for women in business. It's massive. It's going to take way more than ZADASI. If that happens in the next 10 years, when that happens in the next 10 years, and we can offer this program out to men, we're $1 billion asset-based backed company. We are invested in thousands of women entrepreneurs. Then, I don't know, I think I'll probably go to the Maldives or Bora Bora.
Albania.
Sit on the beach.
Or Albania. You should try Albania. Come on now.
Well, exactly. We just have beautiful beaches I've seen. So that's where we'll be in 10 years.
I see what you're doing here. So you're saying let's have all these women work hard and for the next 10 years. And then once that program is perfected, then we bring the man on board, which means you believe in the power of the woman before you believe in the power of man. That's how I'm translating it. I'm just teasing.
You're right. I believe that women can affect change.
I'm teasing, but
no, it's true though. I still feel that it's men that are going to have to be able to open the doors, because that's what the hierarchy of tables are. But once those doors are open, women are the impactors. There's no doubt about it in my mind. I've invested in enough startups and enough businesses, and when I started my investment, when I became an investor and an angel investor, I actually wrote a program and I put the potential investees through it, because I don't invest in any industry that I don't understand, where I can't add value to my own investment. What I needed to get to know was the actual founder. Am I going to be able to invest in them? Am I going to be able to work with them? Am I aligned to them? And I wrote a program and I put probably 50 plus people through it who are asking for investment. It just turned out that 96% of the people that got the tick, and this is unsolicited program, fit the matrix of the program, they happen to be women. So therefore, that gave me my answer. Women are the impact. There's no doubt about it, but it's got to be done together.
I love it. So we have www.zadasi.com, and is for any man or woman who is listening to us and will continue to listen to us, if they wanted to get in touch with someone from your team to book a call, is the website the place to go?
Absolutely. So there is, we go through that. There are other landing pages that will take you to be able to book a call, whether you want to show interest in relation to joining into a forum to start going through the process. We call it Pathway, to go through our Pathway programs. That allows you to. We don't just let anyone go through it, because of the fact that it does cost money. We take that responsibility. You got to be ready for it, so that we're able to get the most out of you. So not everybody that goes through it now. We just say you're not ready for it yet, and we'd rather you get ready for it before you go and spend the money, because it's going to be a waste. So there is a qualifying. But if you're interested in the mission and vision, and you think, okay, well, I could become a preferred, and I'm a man, because men can't go through the Pathway program at the moment, but they have networks, and they say, I would like to align myself to the mission and vision of ZADASI. We absolutely are always open to supply partners, preferred partners. If you think that this is something where you can add value to the organization and our mission, and you would like to do it, get in touch. My email is brad, B-R-A-D, at ZADASI.com. If you don't want to go onto the website, you're aligned with what I'm saying, you want to have a call about ZADASI, I'll make my time available. You can email me directly, brad at ZADASI.com, or I can put you on to another co-founder or anyone in our organization. And the whole thing is just about starting conversations. You know, I come on stuff like this, McKenna, because you asked me to, because I love you and I know who you are and I want to support you in what you're doing, because you're a smart, powerful woman that is changing and impacting lives. And I know it because I've seen it and I follow you. So I will come and do whatever you want because you're in my inner circle, and I'll do whatever I can to support you. But the other reason I come onto these things and do podcasts, of course, is to spread the word. I want people to hear the word ZADASI. I want people to go and check it out. I want people to say, okay, well, that might suit my wife. That might suit my sister. Guess what? I know a woman who's just started a drop shipping business. She just started. So she doesn't kind of know. She doesn't have the network. She doesn't kind of know what she doesn't know yet because it's a brand new business. Bring her in. Let us train her. Let us give her our network. Let's give her access to hundreds of thousands of warm leads and the educations. I can save her so much money and get her to start growing her business with an ideation that every dollar you put in, you need to get a return on. And that is imperative.
And the return on the heart account has no price.
Yeah.
Because we all wake up every morning being grateful that we are alive, but at the same time, with a lot of doubts, with a lot of questions, with a lot of uncertainties. And this is why I appreciate creators like yourself, Brad, because you know the feeling and you can relate. You're not creating something because you figured this is a cool thing to do. It gives me that global presence and, let's test it. No, you can relate because you are an immigrant. You have daughters. You have a super powerhouse of a wife who is her own person, in addition to being the wife, the mother, the daughter, the sister, whatever responsibility she has as she shows up in the world. First and foremost, she's Daniela. And when you see her respecting herself in those terms, you can help but create this space of more women who may not have the exact same support from a husband or a partner, because they may not even have a husband. Maybe they're a single woman in their 20s and 30s and 40s, and they don't have the platform. And what a waste of talent, not just for herself, but what a waste of contribution to the society. And this is why I am so excited for ZADASI. And you and I are on the phone, we text, we've been on Clubhouse back in the day, and you've been busy. I could have very easily picked up the phone and have this one-on-one rediscovery or what you're working on next. But what a better way to really contribute to the community, to the mission, than to have this conversation that I call it unfiltered, unedited, where it's live, and once it's out there with all its imperfections, with me touching my hair 55,000 times, and my mother
shaking because I move a lot.
My mother's probably texted me. She's like, "Don't touch your hair," but I'm so self-conscious. The point is, we are showing up as our true selves. You have a cough and you didn't feel well, but you're here because you believe in the mission. And I really wanted to highlight ZADASI because I think there aren't enough people that know about it, and more people need to know about it. So, but at the end of the day, I really want to ask you a couple of questions, because
Please.
A couple of speedy questions where the audience gets to know a little bit more about you outside of ZADASI. So who Brad is. So Brad, when did you move to America?
So this October will be 4 years.
4 years.
And we actually, fingers crossed, I'm putting it out there. We should be getting our green cards within the next week or so.
You will.
But US green cards. So I'm very excited that we're going to get our US green cards, because this is our home. The US is our home.
Oh my God. Well, on behalf of every American, including myself, we are very happy to have your family and you in this country, because you do make the country beautiful. And I say this for myself. I make the Bronx very beautiful. I
Yes,
mean,
you do.
because I live here, my family is here. Because guess what? We make places. Places don't make us.
Correct.
And I love it. Now, favorite color.
My favorite color actually is black, but my reverse favorite color, because I got to say it, is purple because ZADASI is purple. So
Mm.
but there's a reason why we went with purple for ZADASI, because if you, I'm not going to go through it, but if you do the research of what purple actually stands for, it stands for integrity, it stands for power, it stands for giving, and all the stuff, all of our core values sit in the color purple. So that's why we went purple, but my favorite color is black.
And it's funny, I don't know if you can see the screen, Brad, but as you're speaking, I've been typing the websites, I've been typing a lot of things. So if you notice, there is the purple color there, not
Yeah.
because you and I spoke, but purple is also my website color. And when I first moved to this country 20 years ago, a lot of the people would call me magenta versus Migena. So that's the color magenta. So I am also Migena, aka magenta. So it makes a lot of sense. So I'm glad we are aligning even in the colors here. I mean, this is
Exactly.
fun. Now, Brad, in your opinion, what is the biggest secret in life?
That's a big question.
Don't think.
The biggest secret in life is
Mhm.
to give without the expectation of getting anything back. That's the
Love it.
biggest secret. If you can give from a place of just giving without expecting anything back, wait to see what happens.
If you were to give someone one gift, what gift would that be?
Oh, I give more than one gift.
But
I think just one.
just one.
One gift would be an hour of my time.
Which is non-refundable. So that is extremely generous. If you were to go on vacation, mountain or the beach?
Our beach, without a shadow of doubt. I'm from Australia, where I had a beach 5 minutes away from me. And it's only when things get taken away from you do you realize how lucky you are. So beach. I'm in Dallas right now, no beach.
I am originally from Albania, for anyone who doesn't know, and I was born and raised in the Mediterranean. Spent all my summers at the beach and pretty dark, tan, loved it. And then you come to New York and the Bronx and you work 3 jobs and you're like, where is my vitamin D?
Oh, I'm going to be in New York next week, my dear. So we need to catch up.
I just sent you an invitation because I'll be in Dallas Monday.
Oh, I'm in New York Tuesday, Wednesday. So let's see if we can maybe catch up. Are you going to be back or not? You're not? We never get to catch each other. It's ridiculous.
You and I've been in Dallas. I feel like I live in Dallas at this point, part-time, because I've been there for all these book launches. And we'll be there Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday because we're launching our book Tuesday, August 1st. Hear me out. Real Women in Real Estate, 30 women, 27 stories, 27 journeys. And I was inspired by powerful female immigrants. So I was texting with a girlfriend of mine from the industry, and I'm like, we should write a book about women in real estate because you're not an immigrant. And I feel that a lot of my non-immigrant ladies feel like they're missing out this FOMO. I'm like, I think we should create this women in real estate. And she's like, oh my God, what do we do next? So we've created Real Women in Real Estate, Empowering Stories. We're launching our book August 1st. So we will be in Dallas the 31st. I'm having a very intimate networking event and I just sent you the invitation. So I'd love for you to be there so you can speak about ZADASI and connect with about 60, 70 people I'm assuming I'm going to have there.
Nice.
And it's so funny because you're going to be in New York when I'm in Dallas. You see, we can't. I can't.
We can't get our shit together. I'll definitely try and make my bed. That's congratulations, by the way. It's a very smart idea. Congratulations for the.
Thank you. And I wish I should have. Oh, actually, as we speak now, Brad, another question. Do you think? You don't have to answer this, but I'll ask it anyway.
Oh, I'm going to answer if you ask.
Do you ever think that if you were born in the United States versus in Australia?
Oh, I was born in South Africa.
Oh, wow. My guest prior to you, Joe DiSacco, was born in South Africa and she now lives in Vegas. And it's so funny how like all my South African friends, oh my God, my friend Justine is also from South Africa and lives in Australia. But if you were born in the United States versus in South Africa or in another country,
Yeah.
have you ever imagined how your life would look like? Does that ever cross your mind?
Honestly, no.
Hmm.
It never crossed my mind. And I'll tell you why. I have spent years to leave my past alone. So all my past that's happened to me, all my successes, all my failures, all the shit I've gone through, all the good stuff, all the bad stuff, right? I want that just sitting there as wisdom, that whenever I need it, I can go to it knowing that it's already there. But I don't want to go and play with it. I don't want to go back. You've heard me, I think, talk about this because you come to our Monday stuff at ZADASI every week, which I love you for. But you've heard me say this. If we can leave the stuff of our past alone because we cannot change it, it has happened. And we just understand that is wisdom we can draw on whenever we want, right? And we use that wisdom to build out our future because we've all got that wisdom. But we don't go and play with it. We don't do anything with it because you can't do anything with it. That means we can live our life in the present and the future. And how wonderful is it to live your life in the present and then live your life in the future using all of the wisdom that you've got, McKenna, that I've got, that I know for 48 years of wisdom that I can apply forward to my next day. So no, I never would imagine myself what life would be like if I was born in the US because I wasn't. I was born in South Africa. That's when I was 9. Went to Australia, left there when I was in my mid-40s, and I won't leave the US. Besides, I want to get a holiday house in Paris, but that's a different story. But I want to be a resident of the US.
I love it. I love it. And the reason why I ask, Brad, is because oftentimes we hear, oh, if I were, well, but Americans are born with these advantages and we're born with a lot of disadvantages. And it's not like that bothers me, but it makes me a little sad because people use that either as a shield to protect themselves from the judgment. Because I was born in a very tiny country in Albania. We had chicken and I planted a vineyard with my father, but I've always lived in an apartment building. So I pretty much lived in a town that felt like a city but looked like a farm, which is, oh my God, I got the best of all worlds. And not to mention that it was a town that was built from scratch. And during communism, these young men and women moved from all parts of Albania, built this new town, got to know each other, got married, and moved into these buildings that they built themselves. So I call it a mini Manhattan. It was super diverse. So I've been trained for a long time to adapt to New York City at a bigger scale. But then the reason why I asked you that is because there is no excuse for us to blame it on the country we were born, on the ABCs that happened for us, to us, however you see it. I respect that a lot. And I as I said, I believe that we make countries, we make families, we make relationships, friendships, not the other way around. So I was so happy to hear that you are not saying, well, if I was born here, I would have been 10 times more successful. So I'm so grateful.
You know what it actually is. I feel it actually is. So the US, there is the opportunity in the US, undeniably, is huge, right? Undeniably, it is huge. However, and the US believe in collaboration. They believe that it's the collective that needs to build it, right? And then those that are just better, smarter, and quicker are going to get their piece of the pie. So it becomes very aggressive, right? So yes, you build it together, which is great. And then it becomes very aggressive for you to get your piece of it, right? So you've got to be better. That's how the US works. So coming from a country like Australia, which is the arse end of the world, only 26 million people, it's the size of Texas in terms of population, you better believe I have to be very aggressive in business because the market was so much smaller, right? The opportunities are so much less. So that gave me groundings in teaching. So when I come to a place like the US and there is so much opportunity, I can then take advantage of the opportunity because I've learned in an environment where I had to be cutthroat to get it in the first place. The US is spoiled. It's spoiled in opportunity. But if you aren't prepared to put the work in, like in anything and in anywhere, you're going to get left behind. Because there are people that are prepared to put the work in. There are people that will take a phone call at midnight. There are people that will work public holidays. There are people that will do it. And there are people that sometimes sacrifice their family for it, which I'm not an advocate of. But you've got to do what you've got to do to be able to put food on the table and a roof over your head and clothes on your back.
I
And
love
that's
it.
the bottom line. But the US is full of opportunity. You just have to go out and grab it. But you have to go out and grab it.
You absolutely. And I wanted to share with you the picture from our Real Women in Real Estate. Do you see it?
I wonder. Oh, look at you. You always look beautiful. I love that picture.
So all these
Congratulations, my dear.
powerful women, and I am so excited for our initiative, and this country makes it possible.
Yes.
It really makes it possible, and you don't have to be an author in order for you to share your story, because we all are storytellers. And Brad, I'm so grateful for your time. It does, and time I mean, awe. I would love to end this part of the conversation, because of course you'll be a regular guest on our shows, and I would love for you to provide those not necessarily quarterly updates, but at least twice a year. We need updates on ZADASI, because the world
that would be my pleasure.
Needs to know. But for now, what is one message you would share with the world, because this is going to be on YouTube forever? Of course, you always speak from the heart, but I want to, in the power of you theme, like something that you can lift someone that's listening to this.
My strongest word, Megana, and my strongest feeling is be prepared to invest in yourself. So don't just always look for the easy answer. Don't always look to think, okay, I need to have this before I'm going to spend any money investing in myself. Invest in yourself first. Build yourself to be the best possible you, whichever way that's going to be. Spend the time, spend the money, spend the energy to build you to the best possible you, because what that's going to do, it's going to enable you to be the best possible you for everybody else. And as I said, the only way you're going to receive in life is by giving. And gratitude and giving. And you can give, doesn't matter what stage you're at or where you're at in life, you can give. It could be as small as smiling at someone in a supermarket. It could be as small as paying for the person's coffee behind you in the Starbucks line, or giving money to a charity, or giving attention to someone who's got a book launch, and then you say, okay, I'm going to promote you to my 20,000 people, right? Give these gifts, and then don't expect anything in return. And the way that the universe works, and the way that it's worked for me, I can only speak about personal experience, is that the more I give, the more I get. And I don't expect anything in return. I just want the happiness of the people that I know that I'm touching. I want to be impactful in life. I want to be intentional in giving.
That is amazing. That is so beautiful. And when I was speaking with Carrie, who was sharing this Miss Universe Canada, I was like, it's interesting, because we've been working so hard to get this book together, and having all the women share their stories, their journeys. And it's fascinating how, this book has been produced and it's going to launch as of August 1st. But the timing, as we're launching this book, this is like this global gift that comes back to me from someone that I met in the previous book collaboration, Powerful Female Immigrants, who heard me speak on the stage, and I was being interviewed, and whatever she saw in me, just like when I reach out to my friends in my community, it's because of what I see in them that I approach them. So there's more people that see us than we see. That's a fact.
Oh yeah.
And I believe so much in the power of being rewarded and honored and gifted with all of these surprises, gifts that someone may say, well, you produced a book, oh, now you're going to receive $5, or you're going to receive 10 followers. I'm like, no. How about launch ZADASI in Canada? How about you introduce A and B, and the two of them together are going to help another 1,000 women in a very short period of time because of the power of connecting and the power of showing up in the world as your true self and really, really just give and give some more and then give some more.
Yeah.
And then you'll be like, oh my God, what am I going to do with all of these beautiful things that are coming into my life? And guess what happens with those things? You have a community that you share those with. And that's why we want more, because we want to give more. It's not because we want to keep it to ourselves. And I think this has been super awesome, in my opinion.
I think we have both been wonderful.
I am my number one fan. I tell
Yeah.
everybody that. So what just happened now is Brad complimenting Brad, Migena complimenting Migena. So my message for the world is go in front of a mirror or go on a FaceTime with a friend you haven't seen, especially in a long time, and just say to them, it's been a while since I've seen you, and I just realized how awesome I look today, how awesome I feel today. And I want to tell you that you also look great and you look awesome. Let's have a coffee. Would love to connect with you. And they're going to be like, all right, this person has lost their minds. But guess what? It's okay. It's okay. Do it anyways, because you are going to give them with a smile or sometimes even with a laugh. Give a gift that doesn't require money. Give gifts that do not
Correct.
require money, because money, it's not the only currency. There's so many other currencies, and we're just being silly right now. But this is a conversation with the president of ZADASI, a movement. I don't want to call it an organization, a global movement empowering women, one woman at a time, regardless where they are in their journey. They could be a W-2, they could be a single mother, they could be an 18-year-old who is super innovative and is looking to create something amazing for the world. ZADASI is there to support you. And this is Brad. And you can also email Brad at brad@zadasi.com. But I wanted to put the zadasi.com website, and where is Brad's email? It's right here. And of course, lastly, I would love for all of you to support my channel. It's fairly new, it's a baby. So subscribe, leave comments, and let us know how we can support you in future events.
Where's my finger so I can point to it properly?
Yeah,
Do that. That's what you need to be doing. Do that.
Please subscribe. And Brad, thank you again so much. And I will see you Monday in Dallas. You better show up.
Wonderful. I promise you. Simply my pleasure to spend time and space with you, Migena.
Oh, it's my honor, and my regards to Daniela. I'm looking forward to meeting her and the girls and your family, of course. And let's continue this conversation. Make us proud, and we'll see each other in Canada at Miss Universe.
Wonderful. I'm there.
We're going to close the live. 1, 2, 3.